Hello and welcome to the John Ark Show. Today's episode is called Francis Ford Coppola's Megapolis movie is in serious trouble. Before we begin, I want to encourage you to subscribe to our channel for free. You can also like, comment, and follow us. We're going to have a lot of great celebrity interviews coming up, so make sure to click on the notification bell so you can be notified every time we upload a new episode. Also, we ask that you post a link to today's show on all your social media to help spread the word. Now, let's get started. As indicated in a recent story in The Hollywood Reporter, Francis Ford Coppola's latest movie, the sci-fi film Megapolis, is in serious trouble according to sources. The movie is currently halfway through its shooting schedule in Atlanta and has in the last week lost its creative talent, including its production designer and supervising art director. That's on top of losing the entire visual effects team in the first part of December. To many insiders, the production is now as big a mess as Apocalypse Now was when Francis directed that decades ago. Now, the iconoclastic 83-year-old director is breaking a cardinal rule that says you should never spend your own money on a film project. Megapolis has been a passion project of his for decades. In the fall of 2021, news broke that he would be self-financing the $120 million film, partially with the tens of millions he made selling his popular Northern California wineries. The budget has since expanded, and the film is now about halfway through its 90-day shoot, but the production sources say it's unclear whether the production can go forward as planned. Some of the stars cast for the project include Adam Driver, Nathalie Emmanuel, Forrest Whitaker, Lawrence Fishburne, Jon Voight, Talia Shire, Shia LaBeouf, John Schwartzman, and Dustin Hoffman. The film centers on an architect who seeks to rebuild New York City as a utopia after a disaster. Sources say Coppola initially employed new virtual production technology similar to that used on The Mandalorian. But as the challenges and the cost of that approach have mounted, the sources say that production is attempting to pivot to a less costly, more traditional green screen approach. There's no good answer here, says a production executive. Coppola is going to spend a lot more money than he has intended. You can imagine how much he's already got invested. It could be a very bitter pill for him to swallow if this movie is not finished. Sources say Coppola, who has never made an effects-heavy movie, fired almost his entire visual effects team on December 9th, with the rest of the department soon following. Mark Russell, a veteran whose credits include In the Heights and The Wolf of Wall Street, was leading the team as a visual effects supervisor. Coppola famously fired his entire visual effects department on Dracula 30 years ago. More recently, production designer Beth Mickle and supervising art director David Scott have departed. Between firings and resignations, a source says the film now has no art department. One talent representative whose client was among those fired says the dismissal was a blessing in disguise. It was absolute madness being on that set, this person says. Despite the crew exits, Coppola is pressing on, hiring new staff this week, according to the sources. In March 2022, Coppola says The Hollywood Reporter was putting his own money into the film, which has no distributor, in order to make its way to the marketplace. Coppola says, there's a certain way everyone thinks a film should be, and it rubs against the grain if you have another idea. People can be very unaccepting, but sometimes the other idea represents what's coming in the future. That is worthy of being considered. Coppola's methods have yielded several films that critics consider amongst the greatest of all time, like The Godfather and the 1974 Godfather 2 sequel, both of which won Best Pictures at the Oscars. Yet he hasn't had a hit since 1992's Bram Stoker's Dracula and last helmed the 2011 murder mystery feature Twixt, starring Val Kilmer and Bruce Dern, and that movie was largely considered a home entertainment play. It wasn't like a big hit at the theaters. The director has a long history of challenging productions. He has self-financed the 1982 musical feature One from the Heart, which failed to perform, and he followed it up with The Cotton Club, the 1984 all-star drama. That movie was also a bomb, and it was notoriously remembered not just for having a troubled set in production, with crew members being reportedly fired, but also for having a revolving door of financiers. But there was no more famously problematic film than Coppola's production of Apocalypse Now, a grueling shoot that mirrored its plot of descent into madness and chaos. Nevertheless, the 1979 film went on to win 2 Oscars and became a classic. At that year's Cannes Film Festival, the filmmaker reflected, he said, "We were in the jungle. We had access to too much money, too much equipment, and little by little, we all went insane." Here's the thing with Coppola. There's no denying that he's a genius and perhaps even the greatest filmmaker of all time. If people knew how completely drugged out and insane some of the stars he had on Apocalypse Now were, and how difficult they were for him to work with, then they would understand how hard it is for him to make a movie. I have no doubt that he can create another masterpiece. What worries me is that he sold his vineyard and put so much of his money into this project. If it doesn't work, then I'm concerned that it could really hurt him and his entire family financially. He must really believe in this project. Let's hope it works out for him. Good luck. Thank you for watching. I want to encourage you to subscribe to our channel for free. You can also like, comment, and follow us. We're going to have a lot of great celebrity interviews coming up, so make sure to click on that notification bell so you can be notified every time we upload a new episode. Also, we ask that you post a link to today's episode of our show on social media to help get the word out. Thank you, and we shall see you soon. Bye-bye.